Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about a very important transit, and it is Mars going into the sign of Taurus. You will understand why I feel like this is so important as I speak on about this event. And I want to remind everyone, if you would like to receive my free newsletter, get all of this information delivered to your email address, go to my website, galacticcenter.org, and don't forget to check out my new jewelry line, which I'm selling malas. This is one of my favorites, this pearl mala, and then jewelry that reminds us of our spiritual journey and purpose. So check that out. Now let's get on and talk about something so important as Mars being in the sign of Taurus. Why is this so significant? Because Rahu's there. This is going to intensify things so extremely. Now Mars is going to go into Taurus. Initially, this is going to be February 22nd, and it will be there till April 13th. Now, as it goes in and out some of the nakshatras, this will be more intense as well. We're going to talk about this. Now, always remember, I am talking about the Vedic sidereal zodiac, not tropical Western. But this is like, wow, this is where things are going to really heat up. Because don't forget what Mars is all about. Mars is energy, action, and it does deal with heavy emotion. It can deal with, it is the planet of war. Let me put it bluntly. So not that this means when Mars transits certain places, it always indicates war. Mars can actually be sports and athletics, but it definitely, I always see it as the trigger in astrology to make things happen. Now, Mars is going to come together with Rahu. Now, this isn't a rare event. This happens once every 2 years. But the reason why this is so significant is that all the other planetary placements around Mars are activating this all the more. Because what I'm seeing with this is so many planets are in hard aspect, particularly the square between Saturn and Uranus. This is like a sudden breakthrough, a revolutionary change. And then you put Mars in this sign, Taurus. I mean, it may seem like a pretty benign sign, but let me say, when Taurus gets angry, there's nothing worse. Because Taurus is the one that suppresses feelings, emotions for a time, and then it explodes into something huge. So when Mars first enters into Taurus, this will be around February 22nd. It's going to be in the nakshatra Kritika. And Kritika is the sharp cutting one, but it also does deal with protection, deep protection. So this is a time that we have to be on guard. It's going to be in Kritika from February 22nd till March 11th. So this is going to be intense. The symbol for Kritika is a knife, and it means it cuts. It's a very harsh nakshatra. Deals with, cutting events and getting to the core and the bottom of things. Now, this nakshatra is ruled by the sun, and the sun deals with our leadership. And that means we have to have, no matter what country we live in, we have to have a really strong leadership to get through this, because this is what the sun is all about. And this is the nakshatra that deals with preparation and protection. Now, another thing is, while the whole time Mars is in Taurus, Taurus is ruled by Venus. So wherever Venus is transiting will be relative to the culprit of why things are happening. And Venus, for the most part, it's going to be changing signs quite rapidly. And from Aquarius to Pisces to Taurus. So you're going to see that everything is really brewing and heating up. But I think this nakshatra is so very important. Now, by the time Mars comes together with Rahu, they're going to conjoin around 19 degrees. And that's intense, because that is a degree mark that I found to be really activated in serious times, such as, just to give you some information, it's not always this way, but of course, as I said, Mars takes 2 years to go through the whole zodiac, so it's not always, when it comes to this degree mark, which is 19, 20 degrees of the sign of Taurus, it doesn't always create something terrible, but it's with Rahu at that degree mark. This is rare that they both converge at that degree mark. And I have found that between 20 and 23 degrees of Taurus and sometimes Scorpio, this is a triggering degree. I found that on September 11th, 2001, Saturn was at 20 degrees of Taurus. Another event was the bombing of Hiroshima. I believe it was Uranus was at 23 degrees. And another one was the bombing of Pearl Harbor. There was an important planet there at that time. And this is just an important degree. One thing I do find that degree mark, what it really has to do with is things coming out that we didn't know somehow. And the fixed star that's there is Rigel. Rigel is actually a fixed star of money and wealth. So it must have another side to it, because I found that to be a very sensitive portion of the zodiac. So when this comes together and they are going to exactly conjunct, this is going to be around March, around the end of March, around March 27th, I believe. I'll have to, yes. So this, and another thing is, when Mars does go into the next nakshatra, which will be March 11th, this is Rohini. Rohini is going to be a lot easier on Mars, and it will be in Rohini from March 11th through April 3rd. Because it's ruled by the moon, Rohini, the moon's fast movement through all the signs means that this is the time that things will change quite rapidly. So when the moon is the dispositing planet of this nakshatra, it changes every 2.5 days to another sign. So things are constantly in flux and nothing's consistent or secure. Now, towards the end of this cycle, where Mars is still in Taurus, it's going to be around, let's see here, it's going to be around April 3rd that Mars is going to go into Mrigashira. And so the time that it's in Taurus, it will change out of Taurus into Gemini by around the 13th of April. So between April 3rd and April 13th, it's going to be in Mrigashira. Now that is the time that it's really going to get heated up big time. Why? Mrigashira is ruled by Mars, and it is the star of searching. So there is some deep research analysis, and some of the things that are going to come out during this time are going to be big discoveries. I think it has a lot to do with some of the corruption that's been going on, but most of all, you know, the most serious thing that's been happening, I have to say, is the coronavirus. Finding answers to where that all came from will be life-changing. And what we're here to do about it if there's anything we will do about it. But there's going to be a lot of heat, there's going to be a lot of anger, and there's going to be a lot of digging during that time. So come around the time of the end of March, I've been talking about, Mars will also begin to go out of bounds. Out of bounds means when you have this declination. Declination, astronomically, if you look at the equator and you extend it out into space, we call this the celestial equator around the Earth. Now, going up about 23 degrees and going below 23 degrees, this is within the declination that's in bounds. But when planets go out of bounds, out of that declination point of 23 degrees, then whatever that planet's about becomes out of control, becomes erratic. And when I look to see how out of bounds Mars was on September 11th, 2001, it reached unbelievable proportions. It was, I think, almost 27 degrees, whereas at this point, Mars will be about 25 degrees beyond the limit of 23 degrees in declination. So Mars is imperative to what is happening in the next few months. Throughout the springtime, watch and see. And when we have Mars coming together with Rahu towards the end of March, expect the unexpected and expect some attacks, expect something with war, expect something with weapons, because that's what Mars is all about. And Rahu, when it's with the planet, expands it tremendously. And yes, Mars will conjunct Rahu about every 2 years, but it doesn't always happen in Taurus. And actually, to go back these cycles, it would probably be somewhat where they came together quite some time. And this is specific because all the other aspects that are happening around, I look at Mars as a trigger. And there's something to be triggered at the time that Mars is transiting in Taurus. And even the minute it comes into Taurus, we will feel it, which is, of course, around February 22nd. And another thing is, wow, if you have a Scorpio ascendant, please be careful of relationships, because that's going to put that Mars Rahu in your first house, aspecting the 7th. But if you have a Taurus ascendant, be careful of relationships, because this puts this Mars Rahu, well, it's going to be in your first house, actually. I take that back. The Scorpio ascendants are the ones that are going to have the most problems in relationships, because that Mars Rahu is in their 7th. So really, both signs, Taurus and Scorpio, watch your relationships. And I just want to say, give a little recap of just each and every sign, what to look for. So we know what Taurus, Scorpio is about. Now, if you're Sagittarius or Gemini, you know, things are going to come up from the past that may be a big surprise, and take care of your health. If you have a Gemini or Sagittarius ascendant or moon, please watch your health, because these are going to be 12-6 for you. So if you have a Capricorn or Aquarius moon or ascendant, this is going to be in your 11th and in your 5th house. So flip-flopping around, aspecting both. So this will have to do with friends, groups, explosive events with people, and be careful of your children. So if you have a Leo Aquarius ascendant or moon, then this means that where you are living could change in accordance to your career, your job, but most of all, your work is under stress, and things will change. And if you have Virgo Pisces, then this means that this Rahu and Mars will be in your third and your, let's see, the third and the ninth. Yes, and that's intense because it's going to deal with siblings, could deal with your dad if he's still around, but there's something about your communications you've got to be clear, and you've got to be aware of what you're saying. And be careful of travel. It's not a time to travel. Actually, it's not a time to travel if you have Gemini and Sagittarius ascendants, as well as the, let's see here, I was talking about Leo, Aquarius. That's going to be concerning your living and your work. But yes, it was Pisces and Virgo. Be careful around travel for you because it goes 3, 9. And then if you have Aries or Libra as your ascendant or your moon, you got to be careful of your finances because they're in the 2nd and the 8th for you. And there's something about money issues you've got to watch. So this is an intense time for everyone. Those are just ideas of how certain areas you got to be more careful of. And always find your sense of peace, meditate, and ask what you can learn from this experience, how you can grow. And that's where you can use this energy for the positive. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me, you know to go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. But don't forget, if you want to learn Vedic astrology, go to my university website. We are starting new classes, and it is the place that you will find connection and community with others that have like interest in Vedic astrology. So my university website is universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.